What's up, guys? How's it going? So today, I've got a new friend with me. This is Fred. He's super sensitive. Say hi in the comments. He will check them out and respond to them. He's a cool guy. He's just a little, he doesn't have a great sense of humor. Let me just say his funny bone's not in the right place. Today's video is going to be about a comment. I'm trying to do some response videos to comments that were left in prior videos. I've also got some comments. I want to see what you guys, comment down below. Let me know what you want to see. And make sure to hit that thumbs up button. I got a lot of new toys that I'm really excited for coming up in the next few videos. I do want to say with this video, not feeling the greatest today. Got a head cold. I've got sinus stuff going on. The weather's been changing and for the better. But every year, this time of year, I wind up having all kinds of issues. So please pardon my if I'm not quite as upbeat or if I don't have quite as much fun with this video. Pardon that. Give me a break on this one. But yeah, I wanted to get this one out. And like I said, hit the thumbs up button if you like it. And let's go ahead and just roll the intro. Welcome back to the least professional channel on YouTube. How's everybody doing today? So this video is a response video to a comment from Chance40 on my Ghosts Are Not Real video. I was really inspired by the comment that he left, and so I wanted to make an entire video talking about that comment in particular because it just really intrigued me and was really thought-provoking. So before we get started, let me know in the comments down below what I should talk about next. I really want this channel to be about you and what you want to see as much as it is about me and what I'm interested in. My favorite suggestion will be pinned to the top of the comment section. I'll reply to every single comment and I will try to make a video on as many of them as I possibly can. So the premise put forward in Chance's comment was basically that there's been stories passed down all throughout human history of ghosts and strange phenomenon that we don't really have an explanation for. Now, it is true that we have a lot of reports throughout history of strange things that have happened and that have been passed down that we really don't have explanations for because of how long ago they happened. And these reports even go back to before written history, when stories would be passed down through oral means, sitting around a fire or just discussing stories and telling about things within ourselves, within groups. Now, early humans used these stories for a multitude of purposes, one of which was to provide explanations for the origins of the world and the way that things worked. Another was to provide reasons for both good and bad things that happened, whether it was the weather affecting the crops or strange, weird things that were going on within the group. They would use these stories to kind of provide some kind of a way to explain what they were witnessing and what they were experiencing. And we can't ignore as well the fact that a lot of these stories were probably used for entertainment. Think about it, early tribes, early mankind would be sitting around and they have to struggle every day to survive. And sometimes it was nice just to have a story to kind of relax and disconnect a little bit. Even if it wasn't meant to explain something, it would have still been providing entertainment to the group. Now, a lot of the spiritual aspect of these stories was most likely provided by a psychological phenomenon known as anthropomorphization, if I can get the whole word out. Basically what that is it's giving agency or human characteristics to a non-human thing. So that might be the rustling of a bush, that might be an animal. You're giving some kind of human characteristics to this thing that's not a person. Now, this ability most likely developed in our early human ancestors due to the fact that if you heard the leaves rustling in a bush, that might be the wind, but it could also be a lion or some kind of predator. And if you guessed wrong, you could wind up being eaten. So it made sense to say, oh, the bush is rustling. Not that there's a lion in the bush or that the wind's blowing it, but the bush is rustling, and that's giving agency to it. And over time, that kind of thinking winds up morphing into the way that we think today and how we do things. Like if you stub your toe on a couch or something, you say, oh, the couch hit me. Little things like that. And that's giving agency. We still do it today. It's just that ingrained in us as human beings. Now, furthering on with the comment, it also needs to be said that witness testimony is notoriously unreliable. This has been shown through experiments and just checking with witnesses after, if a crime is committed and a group of witnesses is asked about the crime and they all give different accounts. The reason for that is that we tend to interject our own personal biases and our own points of view when we're relaying a story or when we're relaying information back to somebody. This isn't intentionally lying or making things up. This is, you truly thought that you saw something, or you truly thought that you saw, for instance, in a crime, the perpetrator was wearing a red shirt, but it turned out that the shirt was tan or the shirt was black. And sometimes that's just the way that the mind works. And it's not that the person's lying about it, it's that they are recalling it incorrectly. And this can happen with ghost reports as well. Somebody sees something move, or they see something out of the corner of their eye that they think is a shadow or something like that, and it becomes a shadow person. It looked like the shape of a person in the corner of their eye. And those kind of things are all included in this and how the mind works when we're misremembering something. Now, this is exacerbated when the person lives in a society that believes very strongly that ghosts are real. If the person already has knowledge of ghosts or the supernatural from the society around them, they will be far more likely to attribute strange and unexplainable things to ghosts. In much the same way that somebody that is raised in a society that's predominantly one religion is more likely to grow up in that society and believe that that one religion is the one true religion. There are exceptions to that, of course. Somebody that grows up in a society, a Christian society, converts to Islam when they become an adult, or vice versa. Or somebody that grows up in a society that strongly believes in spirits and ghosts, when they grow up, they lose that belief as they get older and as they start to kind of come with explanations for things. That's what happened to me as I grew older. I started to find explanations for all these things that I thought were unexplainable things. And as I looked more and more into it, I started to find actual solutions and actual reasons for these things that could explain them. And so that, for me personally, was a big thing, because as I grew up, the same kind of thing happened to me. I'm in the United States. I'm in a society that has for a long time believed in the supernatural and ghosts, and we've got an entire industry around those kind of things. And yet, I got to the point in my life where I stopped believing, and it wasn't because I just gave up that belief. It was because I hit a point in my life where I realized there wasn't an explanation for things, and I want the explanation, not just an answer without an explanation. So I'm going to read directly from the comment now, a couple of lines that I thought really stuck out to me. The first one is, I don't know if ghosts exist or not, but I am not ready to throw out every testimony since the dawn of man saying such things exist. Now, the thing is, even skeptics aren't throwing out all of the testimony from the dawn of man. Most people won't do that. If we threw out that testimony, we wouldn't even be having the conversation about whether a ghost exists or not, because nobody would have ever believed at all, regardless of what they witnessed. Now, we also have to take into consideration that there's been plenty of people throughout time that will make things up, whether it's to scare other people or just to get a laugh. They'll make something up as a complete lie. They'll say they had an experience when they didn't really have one. And that kind of goes back to the eyewitness testimony is not reliable. There are probably instances that we have written down as factual things that happened where the person just made it up. And we have no way to differentiate between the people that were just making it up and the people that actually witnessed something. Now, we can see cases of that especially in the 19th century during the spirituality movement. There was people that were making things up completely, making up stories, lying about being able to talk to the dead, that kind of stuff. A lot of that was for profit. One of the videos I've got planned coming up here in the next couple of months actually discusses spirit photography and how that came about by one man's lie. So things like that is why you can't always trust eyewitness testimony, even if it's written down as historical fact that somebody says, I believe this happened to me. They very well may believe it happened to them, but that doesn't mean that it's something that we should take as fact. Now, another thing that he said in his comment, but at the end of the day, this isn't about one person and their own personal experience in the field, but about the sum total in history. Now, this right here it's a logical fallacy known as the argumentum ad populum, or the appeal to the people. It's also an appeal to common belief. So in other words, what that boils down to is saying well, so many people believed it and so many people said it, it must be true. That's why it's a logical fallacy, because just because a lot of people believe something or say something doesn't mean that it's actually true. Now in that same vein, kind of going on the same thing there, having a large number of reports of something doesn't make it true. But that also doesn't mean that we should discount those reports, because it's very possible those people saw something or actually did experience something, and most times it's worth looking into. We shouldn't stop ourselves from looking into it just because it's word of mouth. Because word of mouth, while it isn't always reliable, it is still something, it's a way that people can share their experiences, and it's something that's worth looking into. Now, he also had another comment that mentioned books from all over Ireland, written in the 1800s, sharing ghost stories and things, that experiences that people had. He also talked about a Native American tribe from Mexico that would use a necromancer to guide them as they traveled north. And while these things add to the list of stories that we have, they don't actually give any evidence. So my point here isn't to poke holes in the existence of ghosts. It's to show that the idea of using stories from history as a reason to believe in ghosts is flawed. We can use these stories to get a better understanding of the different beliefs and cultures from different places and times throughout history, but that's all it's for. You can't use these to build a case for something like ghosts off of. There's nothing wrong with having a hypothesis to explain something that we don't fully understand. That's how we get to understanding. That hypothesis should be based on a solid foundation, and stories and testimony throughout history are just not a solid foundation. Now, the comment does end on a really awesome note that I wanted to touch on, because I thought it was really, really well said. He said, "I don't know the truth, I don't know how to find the truth, but I know my mind is open to the possibility that there are things out there that I don't have all the facts on." And that's a great point. We're all searching for answers. That's what we want, is to understand the world. You know, that's how we got to where we are today, where we have some of the awesome wonders of society, science has brought us, technology-wise. The internet, this very YouTube channel that you're watching right now is brought to you by the internet and brought to you by science. Scientists were able to find ways to make all of these things happen throughout history. Engineers would take scientific findings and apply those, and that's how we got the things that we have. So having questions, not knowing how something works, those are all good things, but it's important to build the groundwork on a solid foundation so that we can get to the next level. So I'm going to read this next part directly from my notes, because I wrote this all down. I haven't memorized it. So to close this one out, I just want to say thank you again to Chance for the comment that actually inspired this video. I also want to take the time to thank everybody who takes the time to watch these videos and like and comment and subscribe and leave a comment of their own. I make these videos as an outlet for my creativity and to share things that are on my mind. You could have watched any other YouTube video, but you chose to watch this one. So I greatly appreciate that. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. I want you to have a great day, and I will see you next time.